pray that your hearts are prepared. You came in these doors today to hear. I hope you didn't come to just sit. Most of you came to hear. Like, God, I go to church on Sunday not out of tradition, not out of habit, but out of necessity, out of need. Because, God, I need you. I need you. And so I'm going to piggyback a bit on, Pastor Scott has been talking about the most important thing, right? So I'm going to piggyback on a little bit. Last week he did the analogy or the illustration with three men. Do you guys remember that? Are those three guys here? Do you remember coming up? Okay. Let me get two and I need one more. The same two that were up here and one more. You want to come down? That's fine, Jemai. All right. So here's what we're going to do. I'm just going to have you guys sit at the altar for a minute, all right? So you don't have to kneel down. I know some of us, our knees is a little achy and all that good stuff. But remember, he talked about, from our perception, who it is that Jesus loves in this scenario, right? And there were three types of people. So we're going to get to that. So for those of you that thought that was uncomfortable, like, what is he doing? What's happening? What do I have to do after this? For those of you that are uncomfortable with that silence, then today is for you. So in this illustration, he said, okay, first off, I need everyone's attention. We got our three people up here. That silence only lasted 30 seconds. So if you were uncomfortable, and I saw some that were sitting down looking up like, what's going on? What's he going to do next? What's the next instruction, right? If that made you uncomfortable, that was only 30 seconds. That's how short our attention span is. On to the next, on to the next. And so, if that silence was awkward and uncomfortable, the question is why? Why? Why did your mind want to run away? Where did your mind run to? Was it cooking dinner after this? Was it what's going on next week? Was it maybe the vibration you felt from the notification you just got on your phone? See, where did your mind run to? The next task? The vibration from the notification? What is our mind running from? Why don't we want to be in quiet, in silence? I contend, I submit to you, that is the very thing that we say we want. I say what our mind is running from is exactly what we say we want. Now, you gotta say, okay, you need to back that up, right? So I'm gonna explain that shortly, but first we're gonna finish this illustration. So we had three people here, right? I'm gonna take my notes with me if that's okay. So Pastor Scott said we got three people, right? And these three people, I'm gonna ask you to kneel down and pray now, all right? So, and thank you guys for your participation. So here's the thing. We got these three people, right? And he gave this illustration about the baby, about the young man and woman, and about the mature, right? And so this first one said Jesus, comes down alongside, puts his arm on. Man, I love you, man. Brother Phil, you're doing such a great job. I'm so proud of you. I'm so glad to see the way things are going for you. Look, just stick in there. I'm with you. I'm walking with you. I got you, right? And he gets up and leaves him. Then he goes on to the second one. And he says, son, Keep going. And he leaves him. Then he goes and looks at the third one. He's down praying. He's looking down. He just cracks a smile like, don't speak to him, no touch, just walks on. All right? So, guys, I'm going to ask you to be seated as I touch you. Here is the spiritual, and not in reality, but in illustration, the spiritual baby, right? So stand on up and go have a seat. See, from the outsider's perspective, we think that the one who got all the love is the one who's doing the best. We think the one who's getting all of that attention and oh my gosh, I'm so proud of you, it's so great. We think that they're the ones that are in the best shape. But in reality, that's the baby. Just like when you have a baby, right? When you have a baby, you don't just look at it and walk away from it. It needs you. It needs you to nurture it and to hold it and to speak to it and to love on it and to kiss it and to play with it, to talk to it so it learns how to talk and its eyes watching your lips. It learns how to form these speech patterns. That baby needs your attention. And so it's the same with the believer. The immature Christian, we need God's, because we're babies. And your babies don't know what to eat. I don't know if they still have Mr. Yuck stickers. But I remember when I was in school, they had these green stickers with this guy on it, and it was a Mr. Yuck face. And you had to put those stickers on stuff that you weren't supposed to eat because you didn't know any better, right? So the baby doesn't know any better. But then we move on to the young man or young woman, the one who's been trained, the one who now got their feet under him a little bit, right? So we move on to that spiritual, come on up, young man and young woman. Thank you. And this young man and young woman, they're doing pretty well. Their life is on track, and they feel like, okay, God, like, I know you, and I'm ready to launch out and do what you're calling me to do. I'm walking in it. I trust you. And so sometimes you just need that touch to say, just keep going. Just keep going, right? And so remember now that from the outside perspective, we think this one is the one who is really in the best shape because they're getting all the love. This one, there's a little bit less, and it's really not less love. Don't get it twisted. But like, as you begin to grow, you shouldn't need treated like a baby anymore. Right? Like, as we're training our kids in our home, we shouldn't still be wiping their butt. If you are, then CYS might have to pay you a visit. But there are some things that we graduate beyond, right? And so it's the same way in the spiritual life. There's some things that we're supposed to cut out and grow beyond, right? And so, at 10 or 11 years old, my youngest son isn't ready to go live on his own. But he's being trained so that when he reaches a certain age, he's ready to go and handle business, right? And then he checks in and we talk and we have relationship, but he don't need the same things he needed as a baby. But then we get to the mature. The mature got no touch, no look, and just stayed in the pocket. And we think, oh man, well he must have done something wrong. Well, maybe the same sort of love isn't for him as for the other two. And we're so wrong. So wrong. Go ahead. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. I heard something over the course of this week, and one of the brothers that was presenting, his name was Ron, he said, the closer we get to God, the softer his voice gets.